Hello, everybody. Hello. Come on in here. Hello, everybody. We are going to start here. Welcome to Contemporary Issues. Yes, we're talking movies today, Oscar movies. It's Academy Award night.
Oh, fun for you. Fun for you.
You going to an Oscar party tonight?
Yeah, I have.
Carol's going to, anybody else going to an Oscar party tonight?
It's a girl thing.
Oh,
yeah,
fun though.
Yeah, we get together.
Are you gonna dress up?
A
Well, we
girl
were,
Oscar
and then
party.
they voted it down.
Oh.
Because nobody wanted to dress up.
Nobody wanted to dress
No,
up.
no, we have one gent.
One jet. Yeah, that's two jets.
Two gents.
Yes,
Well,
right.
Steven
Well, we-
Spielberg's movie is taking a
Carol
lot.
says Steven
It's West-
Spielberg.
I've got the original West Side Story. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about West Side Story.
Oh, good. Because it was the year I graduated high school. I was doing all kinds of dancing.
Oh.
And Russ Taylor and all that wonderful dancing they did. It's just classic. It's just
Carol said it was the year she graduated high school.
Well, I heard, go ahead, sorry.
It's okay. I need to go ahead and start. Welcome. Come on in, Gail. And yeah, good opportunity to talk about movies and their impact and their messages today, Christian perspective. And so welcome, and our usual announcements. Zoomers, please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen. And we do want you to unmute and talk sometimes too. So share with us your thoughts on this today. We are recording for future playback. Things in the news. Had an interesting little story to share with you about Ukraine. We had dinner, Vicki and I had dinner last night with Ron and Alice Punin, of our class, and they were telling us they have a friend who has a friend who lives in Ukraine. And this friend in Ukraine was looking out their front window a few days ago, and there were two Russian soldiers sitting in their front yard. And they're not real close to the battle lines. And so they walked out and said, can we help you? Are you lost? And they said there were two kids like 15 and 16 years old in their Russian outfits. And they said, we're lost from our unit.
Oh.
And one of them was crying and said, I want to call my mother in Russian.
Oh, my.
And so this friend took him in their house and put him on the phone and connected him to his mother in Russian.
Oh.
Isn't that a great story?
Yeah.
One of those-
Yeah,
It shows the sadness on both sides, doesn't
Oh,
it?
I think definitely soldiers.
Yeah. So, but lots going on this week.
Your newspaper man, send it into the
Send it in.
Send that story in.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I love those human interest stories that come out of this
Yeah,
kind of
but you
thing.
don't hear many of them, they don't give you those kind of
What do they
stories.
do on BBC? If you watch BBC, yeah. That's my favorite news source to watch.
For the last 2 minutes of any of the national news, that the last.
Yeah,
that's something good.
Yes. Yes. Susan, can I ask you what the coverage is like in Canada? Susan's with us.
Well, we get most of the, we get all of the American channels, and we get the overseas channels, CNN International and Euronews, and we used to get Al Jazeera, but no longer. I don't know what happened to our package, but in any event, the Canadian news networks like CBC and they cover the world news very differently because we have so many people from different parts of the world here in Canada that maintain either they're brand new to the country or they maintain really strong ties. So we get much more international news, even at the local level.
Like Europe does. Yeah.
Mhm.
America, we're so focused on ourselves. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All righty. Any other announcements or things I talk about? Church-wise, youth auction coming up. Big serve coming up, we call it. Yep, so sign up for that.
Steve and I also saw that Joe was here for church service this morning. Joe, Marilyn's husband, that Marilyn that just passed away, Gary. Yeah, so Joe was here, so that's good. I talked with him this week and he said, I'm doing okay. I'm adjusting, he said, you know, and, but really was appreciative and thankful for the food and stuff that we sent as a class and cards. I know Steve's gonna go and reach out to him and see if we can.
He doesn't usually go to church.
He doesn't, but
Sometimes goes to Cherry Hills.
except I don't think they've been going, I don't think it was Cherry Hills. I think he moved to another church too, so I was glad to see him.
Okay, well, let's talk about these movies and see what we have seen and what you think about it. And before I start, Lola and I were just talking about the old days of movies, you know, when it used to be the Academy Awards would come up like tonight, and you would think, now what have I gone to see in the theaters? And you would only go to the theaters. But now, like Vicki and I watched all these movies on TV, on either Netflix or Prime or something like that. I don't think we've seen one of these in a theater. We've been to something else once in a while in the theater, but it's just so different these days. And, but they're still movies, and they're still, tonight they're going to have the big awards and the big dress affair like they haven't the last few years. And so there'll be more stars, and we'll look to see what they're wearing, and they'll probably make their political speeches too. But
And the attendance at the Academy Awards is down,
yes, yeah.
and the viewers,
And even before the pandemic, it was
going
declining
down.
a
Why
little
is
bit.
that?
So,
Why is that?
Well, maybe not that many people watch the movies, you know, people, I think my age, our age, don't see quality in the movies anymore. You know, I mean, Steve and I watch TCM a lot and watch some of the old movies, and when
Yeah.
you look at some of the old
Oh,
movies
yeah.
and look at some
I
of the
love
new
the
movies
old
now,
movies.
it's like, really?
Yeah.
So, you know, unless, and the young people, but do the young people really want to sit and watch an Academy Award thing? I don't think so.
Well, it's
you
the way
know?
they receive their information now. There's so many
It's all
ways to
different.
receive information.
Right.
so before we start, I want to share with you just a few highlights of an interesting article that I found about this called "Exploring the Moral Impact of Movies. What if movies can help us become better people?" This is from a Temple University website, and it says, for the first time in decades, Gallup polling tells us that fewer than half of Americans were members of a church, synagogue, or mosque, which we know has been going down. Meanwhile, subscription to Netflix and other streaming services is going up. These trend lines maybe suggest that people today are more likely to be influenced by what they see on screen than what they get through their religious affiliation. We're becoming a culture increasingly gathered around on-screen stories. Trends such as this can be troubling for religions and people of faith. However, Carl Plantinga, a professor of film at Calvin University, believes there are many reasons movies can still be a force for good. There are many good movies out. He says there's been a lot of fear about the power of movies in the past. Excuse me. But I want to look at the opposite, where they play a positive role in our lives. They can help us understand injustices and other kinds of situations. Can movies teach us things that are beneficial to our lives from a moral perspective? I think they can. The question is, what kind of movies, under what conditions do they speak to us today? It says, on one hand, movies can provide an escape from our real world problems. And on the other hand, you can find yourself with a running dialogue in your head when you're watching a movie that says, what would I do in this situation? What would I do differently? So they can teach us also. Some of the recent movies that have had a more clear moral message or political message, he points out, it's Brokeback Mountain, that helped show the LGBTQ issue in a different way. Schindler's List, of course, showed the Holocaust in a powerful way.
Those are old.
Yeah, some of those are old. So those are just a couple of examples that I wanted to throw out as we talk about the message that are in some of these today too. So let's go back up to the top of my screen. There's the Best Picture nominees: Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. And those are all up for Best Director category too. But then a couple different ones in the Best Actor and Actress categories, like Being the Ricardos for Javier Bardem, Tick Tick Boom, I'm not sure what that one is, Andrew Garfield, Denzel Washington, The Tragedy of Macbeth, we want to see that one. Best Actress, The Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker, looks kind of interesting, Jessica Chastain, The Lost Daughter with Olivia Colman, Parallel Mothers, and Spencer with Kristen Stewart, about Diana Spencer. But let's talk about each of these a little. Okay, who saw Belfast? The story of the Irish Catholics versus Protestants. What did you think, Mary?
Loved it.
It's in black and white.
Yeah. Was it really?
Yeah, did you not remember that? Well, that's good.
It was that good. And the actor for the little boy was phenomenal.
Yes. Zoomers, can you hear us okay? Okay, you can hear Mary when she talks at that end of our room? Good, okay. Yeah, did you see it, Vicki?
I
She
didn't
see it. I saw it when you were out one night. And, good story about a working class family with a couple little kids and how they were persecuted because I can't remember now if they were Catholics or Protestant, but you know, the opposing side would come around and tell them, you know, you have to come join our side. And so, it was hard for the family and for the parents who I think who lived with the family, didn't they, Mary? Yeah, the grandparents they all lived together in a little place in Belfast. And so it took you to a different world. Any other thoughts on that?
Where is that one? Which network?
Netflix or Prime, one of
It's
those.
on demand, because I saw it.
Oh, it's on
Yeah,
demand.
it's on demand for $5.99, so I was gonna watch that. When I went to Ireland, let's see, it was about 2010. Our guide, he was like in his 40s, and he was from Northern Ireland, and he said when he was a little kid riding his bike, a bomb went off right behind him, and he got hurt. So
Wow.
that was.
And a good message of, or a clear message of political intolerance too, you know, because those people didn't care if you were a Christian. They just cared if you were on their side of Protestant or Catholic, and trying to drive the English out of occupying Belfast too.
I have kind of a
Sharon?
different situation. I lived in Denver most of my life and raised my kids here. We moved to Idaho for a short time and we lived next door. We rented a house, lived next door to a family. So the kids played a lot. Came Saturday, they couldn't play. My kids were not allowed to go over there because they were Mormon. So my kids got ostracized and I thought, I never heard of that. So
Yeah.
it's still out there.
Yeah.
It's still out there.
Of course.
Yeah, go to Utah.
Yeah.
Go to Utah, right? Yeah.
Actually, you could do it here. My next door neighbors still, my grandchildren couldn't play with them on Saturday.
Yes.
Really?
That was their family day.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had never been exposed to that.
Me either, until
still a lot of division. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next one. CODA, standing for Children of Deaf Adults. And we have one in the room with us here too.
Oh, that's
My
right.
wife Vicki grew up and her parents were both deaf. She was the interpreter for her parents. So she went to see this movie with her sister. When I was with them, she came back and said, that was my life. That's a movie of my life.
Yeah, it was not entertaining for me. It was It was emotional. It was very well done, which was the gauge that I used to say, my sister and I both, what an amazing movie, because it portrayed and depicted our life perfectly. And so, but was it entertaining? Absolutely not. You know, it was like, yeah.
See,
But then
but
he saw
I
it.
saw it just a couple nights ago on Netflix, I think, and I was surprised how good it was. It pulled me in to this teenage girl's story about not just how she was dealing with her deaf family, but she wanted to be a singer, and she had to get along in high school and to try and get in the choir, and it was just a moving, well put together, really well put together movie. Dialogue, acting, everything. The deaf part was a lesser part of it to me, for me, but still important part of the movie.
So it was entertaining for you,
Yes,
but not for Vicky.
yeah,
And
too personal for her.
yeah, the reason the reason that it's getting so much attention is because it was done so well, and because it was very believable, and it's such an accomplishment for the deaf community to be able to be at the same level as just the hearing community, in providing entertainment like this. If my mother were still living, my mother would be ecstatic, about this, because it would be a wide door opening, which is what both Marley and is his name Hugh? I think
Troy.
Troy.
Which one of the deaf people?
The three,
The girl.
the son, the mother, and the father. The girl is the only
The
hearing.
girl's the
person.
hearing daughter.
Oh, so the other three people
Are
are
deaf.
deaf. They're deaf.
Yes, they are deaf.
Wow.
And they're a fishing family in Massachusetts. So the girl has to do all the interpreting with them and for them to the community. But yes, Mary.
Vicki, if it's not too personal a
Yeah.
question, did you have the problem of leaving your parents because you were the interpreter like the girl did in the movie?
I think I had it more than I thought I did, because I will tell you that after my mom passed away and I came back here, I remember telling Steve, I don't have that job anymore. It was like, it's over for me. And I never realized it until that happened, until she was gone. And then I just went, first it was mom, dad, and then dad passed, and then it was mom. And then, but after mom died, I just remember coming back and going, huh. I don't have that.
But your siblings are,
Hearing, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just you and your sister, or is there?
No, I have a brother, a
Okay.
younger brother.
And everybody?
Yeah, except that, it fell to me and I took it. So they were, they did of course they are CODAs and they did feel it, but not like I did, because I was the oldest, and I was very willing to jump right in there and do it, so,
The oldest?
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that.
yeah, so,
Was the movie signed?
oh, yes,
It was,
yes,
okay.
yeah, and
But it's
voice,
also
closed captions,
subtitles.
yeah,
Okay.
subtitles, right, yeah.
Yeah. But
And,
it's not just for deaf
no.
people interested in the
No.
deaf culture. If you got no interest in it, it's still a great movie
great
with a great
For
story
the acting,
about
yes.
this girl.
I wonder why.
Funny and dramatic, and I teared up a couple times. It drew me in so much.
I wonder why a director and the people that put the movie together would select that subject. Why would they, over the many other subjects that they had a choice for? Why that?
I've heard them interviewed several times. And Marley especially gives so much credit to the director for accepting
The script.
the script and doing it.
Who
And
did the script?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
And the director is a little known name. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
look up that director
Yeah.
to see what else he or she has done.
But what you will see also in this movie is that there's something that you'll see deaf culture, which is something that you don't hear an awful lot about. You hear a lot about signing and stuff like that, but you will see deaf culture in this movie, which is something that I grew up with, and it's very different from hearing culture, you know. So anyway, I think it's, even though it wasn't entertaining for me, I recommend it highly, and I'm thrilled that it's getting so
Did
much.
it rate it
attention.
as 5-star or 4? Or
I don't know, but
how do they rate it?
You know, I'm not sure what the rating is, but it's won other awards too leading up to this. It
Yeah,
won,
it did.
Probably
Yeah,
actors.
I was watching
Is
some
that
other
girl
shows.
nominated for the acting part?
I think the young girl is active for best supporting, isn't she?
yeah, the father with the beard won the
SAG award.
Yeah.
SAG award
What's that?
for best actor,
Yeah.
screen actor.
Screen
Guild.
actor.
Screen actor.
So,
There's a TV show, New Amsterdam.
Yes,
And there's
yes,
a doctor
deaf- a
on
deaf
there, and
doctor.
she's deaf, but
Uh-huh.
she has her interpreter with her.
right.
She's like a
exactly.
big doctor. you
Oh,
know, like the head
yeah,
of the
oh,
department.
yeah,
She
oh,
knows
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and she just blends right in, and the interpreter blends right in, and
Yeah,
yeah, there's so much history in interpreters and in situations at doctor's office, courtrooms, stuff like that, that I could go on forever about it, but I
takes you
won't.
into
But
a
this,
different world.
yes, it does, but this gives you an idea of how much responsibility is placed on the shoulders of that young girl.
my neighbor lived in California for 25 years, and there's a deaf school.
Yeah, in,
Or she lived there 35, and she
Sanford?
worked in that school.
oh, did she?
Yeah,
It's-
she worked in that school, and she was telling me that it's different. It's like when you say, I'm going to the store, and she said, it goes store going.
Yeah,
She said, it's a whole, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like another language. She
It
said
is.
it's totally different.
yeah, American Sign Language.
Yeah.
It is very slow. Yes, there is.
I
Yeah, there
toured
is.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that I
She was deaf.
Oh,
She was deaf, but she could speak too.
yeah,
It didn't sound like that.
one thing I'm gonna put up, if you're ever in Kansas City and you're in a little town, it's not little so much anymore, but Olathe, which is where we came from, they have the one and only Deaf History Museum that's right across the street from the deaf school. And I used to work there when we lived there. It is fantastic. It takes you back to Alexander Graham Bell, who helped develop the hearing aid and the first deaf school in the nation. And it's gotten national awards and everything. It's a beautiful museum. So just FYI, if you're.
Olathe. Is that
Yes.
where Olathe Corn came from?
No, that's Colorado. That's Colorado.
Okay, the next one is called Licorice Pizza, which sounds like a terrible combination to
Yeah.
me. But we watched part of it this last night, and it's kind of a cute story about two kids, or actually the boys in high school and the girls a couple of years older, in 1973 in California. And it's a coming of age story, first love kind of thing. But I thought it was cute because it was not two kids that are cute. They're plain looking.
Yeah. that's
And
true.
they know it, but they are happy and self-confident, funny with each other. And so it's a good story from that perspective. I thought it was kind of slow and drug in parts, but if you want to go back to the 70s and hear some of that music and see what, and relive a first relationship, this was kind of a cute movie, I thought.
How does it end?
I didn't
We
get to
didn't
the
get
end.
to the end.
We haven't got to it yet. Has anybody else seen it?
Is it
And
rated
the,
5-star?
I don't know what the stars were on any of these. I didn't check that, Carol.
And is one of the actors or actresses up for best supporting, or is it just the movie?
I just know it's about the movie.
Okay.
The movie is very popular. Okay. Let's see. Okay, West Side Story. We've all heard about that and seen the original. Steven Spielberg made this new one with all of the Puerto Rican actors, including, what was her name that was in the original?
Rita
Rita
Marie.
Rita Moreno, who's 85 or 88 now and does a great, funny little cameo part. Who saw it? Who liked it? Okay, what do you think, Joy?
I was surprised. I did not remember the violence.
Yeah,
Oh, well, there was a lot in the original.
Yeah,
It
sure.
was really, and of course, it has a very sad end.
sure.
But it was very real in a lot of the plot.
And its message,
And its
message in the end, violence does no good. It just hurts
Yeah.
everybody.
And that played, the guy that owned the drugstore,
Uh-huh.
he was very, that role was good. That's what
Yes. Yes. And this girl is up for Best Actress, and Wall Street Journal says she's almost a lock to win
Really?
for, or no, it's Best Supporting Actress.
Best
She's
supporting.
Best Supporting.
What's her
Well,
name?
was the actor?
Ariana DeBose.
Oh.
And she was really cute in this.
But I have a question. I heard that in the very beginning of this week that she was not invited.
I heard that too, but then they quick
Yeah,
invited
but
her.
why?
Well, if she's up for an award, wouldn't you be a shoe-in right
I
there?
don't
Yeah.
understand it. Did
It's,
you hear
the
that?
thing I read
Yeah,
was
I
the
mean-
studios have a limited number of tickets and somebody just didn't allocate them properly. So-
Unless you live by Zoom.
She went, we didn't invite her, but you won anyway.
Susan or Joe, did you see this one? Did you like it?
Isn't that dumb?
I saw it last night or yesterday afternoon and yeah, I liked it. My mom was really a fan of all the musicals and so I was really familiar with the music. So it took me back and I can't remember the stage performance that well, but it seemed to follow it pretty closely. And yeah, I liked it.
There were some
And this one, I
great
thought
dance.
especially you could see it as a stage play too.
Yeah.
You could just visualize this as a stage play. And the other girl, besides Maria, this one, the Puerto Rican girl, the other one, the taller, darker girl, I read an interview, she said she'd always identified as being Black.
Right.
Not, she's half Black, half Puerto Rican, so this got her in touch with her Puerto Rican roots. But she was terrific. What a dancer. Did you see how fast she could dance in this? She
Good,
was
I need
really
to see
good.
that.
I'm surprised Rita Moreno wasn't nominated for something.
Too.
Yeah,
She'd have a.
didn't she win?
No, but just because who she is.
Oh,
Yeah.
she went, yeah, she carried a good portion of that.
she did.
I think she
was
won
the
the
dancer.
Oscar 50 years ago for the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, she deserved it. Is that what it was?
Yeah, she won the original.
And the boy in this was so good too. I'd never seen him before, but he was just so genuine
Voice.
and
his
look at
voice.
beautiful voice and song.
Oh, he's real. They had to dub in the lead
I think they dubbed some voices singing.
in the original.
Oh, in the
Oh, in
original.
the original, they had, I
Yeah.
think both of them were dubbed.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
guess the same
Oh, Natalie Wood was a had a good
No.
voice. That's
She's,
right.
she can sing.
Yeah,
or
that's a good
dance.
point.
They
That's
dubbed,
a good point. Okay. All right.
oh, there they are.
This one wasn't in as a best picture, but I found the picture here. Vicky and I really enjoyed. Does anybody see this?
Yeah, on TV. Ugh, I thought it was awful.
Thought it was
We
awful.
didn't even watch the end of it, there were three of us. And all, like our age, so everybody that grew up watching, I love Lucy and everything, and we all just sat there, keep thinking, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better. And then it was a family thing, it's time to eat, and we're like, it's okay, we don't have to see it. Yeah.
She did not, she's to me, not the best portrayer of Lucy.
Yeah.
There have been others that have portrayed Lucy better, who is it that who was on
Will and Grace.
Will and Grace?
The girl that's on Will
Oh,
and Grace
yeah.
show looks like her.
Perfect.
But this movie did an interesting job of showing behind the scenes when they would do the planning.
Excuse
me, Deborah
Messing.
Deborah Messing, that's it, yeah. Deborah.
So it's an interesting from a,
Maybe I just didn't want to hear all that bad stuff. It was
Yeah.
just a-
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and the whole
Another messed up
communist
family.
thing, I
Yeah.
remember vaguely hearing about that, they was rumored that she was a communist.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, Lucy,
no, Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Because she,
Lucille Ball.
when she was like a teenager, she'd signed something that said, yes, her father was a communist and she followed her father or something
Yes.
like that. So,
One statement that she made one time
Yeah.
in support of her father, and then they were just nailing
Yeah.
it for it.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like all that awful Hollywood atmosphere.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was friends with a stewardess a while ago. She was saying that Lucille Ball was the worst passenger ever.
I
Oh, I
heard
bet.
that. I've heard
So
that too.
demanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard she was awful.
Oh, well.
Spoiled brat.
Yeah.
Anybody see this one called Don't Look Up?
Yes.
Yeah.
With, with Meryl Streep as the president and Leo DiCaprio is a scientist and astronomer who comes to her and says, there is a comet heading toward Earth and we had better do something. And the president says, oh my gosh, how's that going to affect my reelection campaign?
Meryl Streep plays that role?
Yes, oh, it's funny, but it's a dark
Is
satire.
that a good-
And so, yeah, she says, well, how much of a sure thing is this? And he says, 99%. She says, oh, then it's not a for sure thing. There's a 1% doubt it may miss us. And so I stopped watching halfway through this just because I got tired of it.
Yeah.
But it was a funny concept for a movie and made fun of politicians today who only care about themselves and their own reelection. So what do you think? Anybody else? What do you think?
I
Mary?
thought it was a great cautionary tale,
Yeah.
and I laughed out loud at parts of it, because I thought they were true. I mean, some of the things like the president would say, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds
Especially
about
the one we
right.
got. Especially the one we got.
I thought it was kind of anticlimactic because I thought by the end, after all that buildup, it really should have blown us up.
And the title comes from some line, I think maybe the president said it, well, it's coming, but just don't look up.
Yeah.
So maybe if we don't look up, it won't
Just
get
ignore
there.
What did you think?
I thought the money and the politics and how money influenced the president was spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, the meteorite was coming to Earth, it was going to disintegrate all of mankind, all of everything. And somehow this very wealthy business person, I think of him like the guy that invented the iPhone, decided that meteorite had some minerals in it that we needed desperately on Earth and were worth $1 zillion. And that instead, what we could do is we could push the meteorite and blow it up and extract the minerals to build
How does it-
cell phones. And I thought that was incredible because that's exactly the way politics works.
Yeah.
And we find something
business.
bad.
And-
we
and
can all
with
get behind and
billionaires,
Stop it
yeah.
until a billionaire steps in and says, I need those resources. And he influenced the president to knock the meteorite off course and disintegrate it so that he could steal the minerals out of it. Well, of course, his efforts failed and the planet does in fact get destroyed. So
Is that how it ends?
yeah,
Doom and
planet,
gloom.
planet gets destroyed.
Now I don't have to see that.
Yeah.
So much for that.
Wow, it shows human greed at its.
Human
at its-
greed at its worst.
At
That's
its
right.
worst, but it exists.
Yeah.
It's in, it's alive and well.
I shouldn't have
King
quit
and
early.
Richard. What, Lola?
I shouldn't have quit early.
Yeah.
That person.
Yeah, when you said that you laughed out loud, I was like, I found nothing funny about this.
I laughed out loud because it was so sad, so.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
real.
about climate
pathetic.
change, more real, I mean, I felt it was a tale about climate
Yes.
change. more
It
than
was a
anything.
parody.
Yes.
I kept thinking the same thing. Is it a satire or is it a parody? Or is it both? I think it's really both.
Yeah.
It was both,
Yeah, Joe says it was both. Did you like it, Joe?
very much so. I liked it so well. I'd like to see it again.
You like to see it again? All right.
It was very subtle with
It's very
comment.
subtle.
I shouldn't be laughing
Well,
about
I,
this.
I.
Very
think that's what
creative.
he
It's
said.
not really
Yes.
funny, but it, you think it'll win?
No,
I
it's
don't-
bad.
I see it as West Side
It-
Story. maybe. I still think about that.
It's one of those, it seems like it's nominated, not because it's likely to win, but because it's got a good message that
Yeah.
people want to pay attention to it.
And Leonardo DiCaprio is absolutely wonderful. He's
Yeah.
probably in our times the best actor that we have. Yeah, I thought.
He is one of the best. That's true. All right, King Richard, about Serena Williams, tennis father. The message is mentoring can make such a big difference. See how this guy mentored these girls. I did not see this yet. Who saw it and liked it? Mary's seen a lot of.
We watched all of these when Xfinity had the free movie week.
Yeah.
So they just,
Yeah,
I didn't know they had such a thing.
yeah, it was about
yeah. How did you like
a
it?
month ago. It was very good. And again, kind of sad what the athletes have to go through, how this is your life and this is all that your life is.
Right.
Did this father push too hard? Was he mean?
You gotta see it. I
Yeah.
couldn't even tell you.
Okay.
I heard on NPR that it disclaimed, maybe that's a word, a lot of negative feelings about the father.
Yeah.
Yeah, because,
But he wasn't mean.
well, that he had
He was
good
strict.
intentions. He
Okay.
was strict.
Okay.
And he had good intentions and big dreams for his girls, you
Well, they
know?
certainly lived up to it.
Yeah, they
I've
did.
watched Serena many times. And
Yeah.
But you know, here's an interesting, yeah, here's an interesting thing. My granddaughters are big, big into tennis. They both are like varsity tennis team. And I said to their whole family, so have you seen King Richard, about no, that doesn't interest us. And I'm going, that's interesting. It's about tennis, and I said to the girls who are seniors and sophomores, well, Serena, and they went, no. And I went, okay. So, and I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if they're just, teenagers and they're just in their bubble, it's not an aspiration of them to be big tennis players down the road. So maybe that's why they don't, like the sophomore said, who are they? And I just said, never mind.
She's influenced a lot of black players. 'cause
Oh,
we
my
watch a lot of
goodness.
tips and that plays a lot to us.
Yeah.
And, yeah. The black, she and her sister have influenced many young black players. But
Yes.
for the better.
Susan or Joe, did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Didn't either.
I did, and I loved it. I thought it was
Loved
great.
it?
Mhm.
What did you like about it?
I think as Vicky said, it dispelled some of the commentary about him being so tough. I thought that actually it represented his commitment to having them be kind of well-rounded and well-educated and given the opportunities to do other things besides tennis. So to me, it was a story about not only mentoring and how you can be successful, but how you can do that while also maintaining, regular life too.
Balance. He encouraged balance for them.
Did the girls go to college?
Did they go to college, Susan? Do you know that those girls go to college?
I think they did. I mean, I know Venus spoke 3 different languages, and they've both gone on to become businesswomen on their own and have several companies. So I think, I don't know if they actually did go to university or not, but I think they did.
Certainly successful.
Who played Serena in the movie?
I'm not sure of the actors. But they showed them mostly as teenagers in the movie, didn't they? Their early
Small
years.
children and then teenagers.
Okay, this is sort of a semi-Western, The Power of the Dog. About a family is in, I think, Montana, was it? I saw this. Thought it was well done, but kind of bleak and slow. And there's a gay character in it, a gay teenager that this guy befriends and kind of comes to understand. So there's kind of a double story of settling on a ranch and then also dealing with a gay teenager.
Family dysfunction.
Family dysfunction.
What year do you think
It's
that
today,
was?
isn't it?
What year was
What was
it?
the year?
I'm not sure. I think it was more like the 20s and 30s.
Oh,
Really?
in America.
Okay, I
Because
was
I
thinking
think they had cars.
And what was the message?
Did we see a car on it?
I thought so, maybe not.
Yeah, they had a car when they went into town, the other brother,
Oh, that's right.
remember the
Yeah.
bank?
Yeah.
There was a car.
So the old car.
So you think it was 1910?
20s, fleet.
Did you like it? What did you think? It's,
You know, Western life is slow.
yes, Western life on a ranch can be slow, and that's what they tried to portray.
Yeah.
But it had the big expansive landscape and had that feeling of kind of an epic movie that was very slow.
Well, what was the power of the dog? What did that have?
It's a mountain range.
Was that what it referred to?
It's based on a Bible, a quote from
Yes.
Psalms. was it?
Not sure.
And I wished after I saw it, then and I didn't know it, and we were saying, what did we just see? We were totally lost.
Yeah.
Then I went back and read about it, and I thought it would have been much more helpful to have had like a class like this and study that part of the Bible and then watch it, because then you go, oh, okay, now I get it.
Oh, I kind of agree with you. I think there was a lot more to that movie than
A lot,
than
but I
we
did
really
not
got as an
understand.
audience. I think there was a lot more to it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You don't remember the Bible verse?
I could Google it fast. Yeah.
Remember when he stands out there and he looks at that mountain range, Steve, and he says, what do you see in that mountain range? And the kid, the skinny kid, he tells him immediately
Yes.
what he sees. He says, how do you see that today when it's taken most people their whole life to see something in that mountain range?
Yeah, it was like the sleeping dog. or
Yes,
something.
yes. and he
The
saw it.
mountains looked like a sleeping dog.
Right, and the cowboy was like amazed that this kid, recognized it immediately. I think there was a lot to that movie that we didn't,
So the
Really?
power of the dog means the power of the mountains?
that's what I took it as.
Okay, it's Psalms chapter 22. Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling from the power of the dog.
Oh, okay.
I saw it, I thought it was very good, but it did go slow.
Joe said he saw it and liked it, but it was slow.
When the cowboy had that cloth and he was doing that dance, and he was taking that cloth and he was pulling it all over his body, and the kids saw him do that,
There was a connection to anthrax.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there was.
Yes.
It's a weird, for you that have not seen this, it's weird, it's slow. And there's probably a lot more to it that we'll never understand.
Yeah.
I don't know, producers, when they select a script and a theme for a movie, it's like they get carried away with their own,
Yeah, they don't always make it clear to the audience what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, you look at that and
Yeah,
say,
you don't want to talk down to the audience, but you also don't want to be so obscure that they can't figure out what's
Right.
going on. Yeah, Susan, did you see this one?
I didn't, no. I'd love to, though.
It sounds interesting now that we've
Older
talked about
brother
it.
taunted the
Oh,
wife.
so
He
Who
hated-
was?
Yeah.
the
Benjamin
older,
Cumberbatch.
the brother-in-law of the bride that was.
Hello, Jim Watson.
Alcoholism was in it too.
Hi, Jim.
The new
Nice
wife.
to see you
was
here.
alcoholic. It was just all over the place.
Well, how about the other ones? Drive My Car is a Japanese film with English subtitles about a guy who gets an older man who gets a young girl to be his driver in Tokyo. I think it is. Establishes a friendship with her. I started watching this and quit after about an hour because it was another very slow 3-hour movie that was not going anywhere. And it made me wonder, am I just too impatient? As an American viewer, am I just too impatient with these stories, or is the rest of the world onto something with these slow stories? Anybody see this?
was it a takeoff on Driving Miss Daisy?
Kind of, yeah, kind of. Uh-huh.
Well, that
But
took
it's a-
awards.
Yeah, a sad older man who lost his wife and needed a friend, and he kind of befriends this young Japanese girl. I think that's what it looks looked like in the first hour that I.
After that,
Took them that long to get to that point.
Yeah. Or maybe this was a nod to just have some foreign film in the best picture. I could think too also. Okay, how about Dune? Science fiction. Anybody see Dune? Mary?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard it wasn't that good.
it's not,
kind of.
I love science fiction, absolutely love it, but it was slow, and almost 3 hours long, and it's the first of probably have 12 dudes. So
Okay. Okay. And the story is a young boy who has to go in space to find another planet for the doomed Earth.
and he's gonna probably end up with some superpowers.
He has superpower. Okay.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
I'm just saying.
The special effects look nice in the previews.
The next sequel.
Yeah. Anybody see this? Joe or Susan or Jim or Joan?
No,
Okay, yeah, it's not my, I enjoy the Star Wars and the Star Trek, but in recent years, I've kind of dropped away from all these superpower Marvel movies and things.
Well, it's so hard to hold the attention of the American public in a 3-hour movie
Yes,
because of the type of lifestyle everybody leads. We're
Yeah.
going at a much later technology.
yeah,
And to hold the interest of anybody for any length of time. I think 3 hours is just too long.
I do too. I can't do it.
It's like, tell me what you want in about 30 minutes.
And that, well, or an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of our attention limit
Yeah.
anymore, isn't
We
it,
have
for
a
a lot
low-
of us?
You're right. But that's the beauty of TV. You can stop, take a day off, go back.
Yes, you
Go
can.
back and do the kitchen,
Right.
you know, wash your laundry, you know, clean the floor.
And the last
Younger
one,
generation.
last one here was called Nightmare Alley, about a guy who meets a girl in a traveling circus in the 1940s. Bradley Cooper plays the guy, so it's kind of a throwback to, what do they call it? Crime noir, a little darker, in the 40s costumes, and
I know you need to go.
yeah, I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
haven't seen it, but maybe it's because it's got Bradley Cooper and Kate Blanchett in it that's got a lot of attention, or maybe it's terrific. Anybody see it? No?
What's the plot? I mean,
Bradley Cooper makes friends somehow with Kate Blanchett, who's in a circus. She's a clairvoyant person that's in a circus, something like that.
supernatural types.
I don't know. Well, I wanted to share with you just briefly too, Wall Street Journal, what it predicts is who should win and who's going to win. So best picture, this Wall Street Journal critic says should win is Licorice Pizza. Okay. Wonderful story about American life in the San Fernando Valley in the 70s. Wonderfully presented. Who will win best picture? Power of the Dog. It has the images and themes of a big Western. This will prevail because we like big, sprawling, epic type movies.
It's kind of shallow.
Wow.
It is.
Isn't that a shallow excuse for why it will win?
Says, but Coda has a lot of sentiment behind it. It might be an underdog. Best director, he says, who should win is Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza. And he said, who will win? Jane Campion, director of Power of the Dog. Wow. So let's see if this guy's correct. Best actor, who should win and who will win? Will Smith for King Richard. He said it's just an outstanding performance, irresistible combination of passion and magisterial zest in his role as the father. Best actress, this guy says who should win is Penelope Cruz for the Spanish film playing the muse of a filmmaker, Pedro Almodovar, who will win, he thinks, is Jessica Chastain for Tammy Faye Baker for her outstanding and transformative portrayal of Tammy Faye.
Is Tammy Faye still alive?
No, Tammy Faye died years ago. Colon cancer. Best supporting actor, this guy thinks should win, is the boy in Power of the Dog. He says the one who will win is Troy, the father from Coda. Thinks that it's such a good portrayal that this guy will win Best Supporting Actor. And Best Supporting Actress, you think should win and will win both, is the girl that played Maria from West Side Story.
Didn't get invited to the.
We didn't get invited until later. Yeah.
She should win.
That'll teach us.
I just wanted to interject this. I looked this up. It's in Psalm 22, verse 20. And it says down here that deliver my soul from the sword, my life from the power of the dog. And what it's referring to, it says, is affliction. That is deliver myself from the affliction, the power of the dog, the affliction, which could be several
Well,
things
she
in
had-
that
she
movie.
was an
She was
alcoholic.
an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he was
The
the
mother-
young boy.
The mother
was-
character in Power of the Dog was an alcoholic. She had the gay son.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, but the cowboy had issues too.
Oh.
You know, so they all had kind of afflictions, I think, so it's very interesting. You know, that would be a really good book club book.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
wouldn't it?
I think there's a lot to that.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
deep, it's deep, yeah.
Steve,
Yes, Jim, go right ahead.
well, I enjoyed seeing The Music Man again during the week.
You saw The Music Man?
Yeah.
Oh, those
enjoyed
old.
seeing it again, yeah.
Those are
Great.
I think it would be interesting for people to talk about their favorite movie of all time.
Oh, good. Let's do, we've got about 7 minutes left. Yeah, what's your favorite movie of all time? You have one or two that you would pick out? Now, I was thinking last night about, I heard 1939 Best Picture nominees, where there was a whole bunch of amazing ones, like it was Gone with the Wind
Oh, Gone with
and
the Wind.
That's-
The Wizard of Oz, and just, that was one of those years where they were big classics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and do we have those anymore? Not the
No.
same way.
Gone with the Wind is, I've got my own copy of it. I never tired of looking at it. And West Side's the original West Side Story.
Yeah.
Okay,
But those were huge productions.
Yes.
Just huge.
Yes,
So they can't really do that anymore. It's just too expensive.
yeah.
But if
A lot
you're
of
gonna
them
have
watching it on your
technicians that do it now,
phone. Yeah, they do it. Yeah, a lot of those they can do.
you don't have to have a person.
Yeah.
but like Coda now was shot for $10 million. You heard that. And then sold at the Sundance Film Festival for $25 million. And it's already grossed like $200 million.
Oh, my God.
So it can be done. And Steve and I were talking before about movies being shot on iPhones today and submitted, you know, in high definition to these film festivals. And it's a different world than the big studio productions of yesteryear. Mary,
There's a lot of indie films too,
yeah,
that this might have been one too, you know, that are just independent films and
Yes.
because the studios, there's only like, it's not like it was
No.
before.
Studios.
What is- What did we think about that Western that was being filmed and the lady got shot?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
What's gonna happen with
Yeah, what is gonna happen?
What's his name?
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin
What
was
was the
filming
name
a
of the-
movie in
They didn't finish it.
It was in New
New Mexico, and
Has he been charged?
No, they're not, I don't think they're gonna charge yet, but
Accidentally
still
shot.
investigating.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Some kind of small western. Yeah. Mary, go ahead.
I want to put in a plug for the movie called The Eyes of Tammy watched it on the free week also. It gives you an idea of the televangelist empire. And I also didn't realize that Tammy Faye was a huge advocate for LGBTQ.
Really?
Really?
And yes.
Huh. That does
One
seem
of the-
kinda-
And this was in 1990 or something. So when she supported that, she was ostracized.
Wow.
So if you get a chance and it's free, watch it.
Was he in it?
Jim Baker, well, it's a movie. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
real.
but-
As an actor.
Yes, he
But
was
he
very
was-
much in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it wasn't just her.
No, it's not, it's a good movie. I learned a lot.
But that's very interesting when you put it into put it in context, because they were extremely conservative
Yes.
Yes.
in their evangelism. So for her to be that way,
She said, I love everybody.
yeah.
I
So
don't
it's a
care."
true story?
Yeah.
They weren't conservative with their money.
No, but
They
they
pocketed everything they could.
valued, I mean, their values and what they were like very
Did-
conservative.
did
Except they
go to
were
jail?
thieves.
Did he go to jail?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did. Yeah.
Except they were thieves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they had a TV show
Conservative
too.
thieves.
They had a TV show back in the day. And they would go to Israel and she'd be on the camel or whatever, and she'd be crying that she's in Israel.
And her makeup was
Yeah.
running.
Yeah,
Makeup.
She was a great actress.
Yes.
Most
wait till
TV
the-
evangelists, the one that's now with this huge following now.
Osteen?
Yeah,
Joel
Osteen.
Osteen.
Oh, Lord, he's drowning in money, I'm sure. His whole, I mean, when they pan that audience, it's incredible if they're all giving. It's like,
Oh, well, we've got a couple minutes left. What do you think about the political speeches when they start giving political opinions
Oh, at the, at
on the
the,
podium when they win? Does that
Well,
bother
maybe-
you?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
that's not their,
Place.
that's not the platform.
well,
Sure.
Hollywood
Susan
needs to.
Jim, what do you think? Does that bother you, or do you think that's an okay thing to do? They got an opinion?
Well, we all
Well,
have opinion. Let's all get our,
they're entitled to their opinions,
I know their opinion.
but it's a little out of place, I think.
Yep. Remember when, who was the guy? Marlon Brando won, and he had the Indian girl get up and give a speech on behalf of the Indians.
yeah.
Yes.
Start.
One of my favorite actors and entertainers was, I'm having a senior moment, I can't think of
That's
it.
okay. We all have our senior moment.
He's same age as me, black person. Cliff,
Sidney Poitier.
yeah, no,
Denzel.
Morgan Freeman, maybe?
no, I could kick
That's okay,
myself.
Jim.
I could kick myself in the pants for not thinking of it. He was a great civil rights worker as well as a great entertainer,
Oh,
singer and dancer. Jane, call my great assistant.
yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name either.
Well, all of those were
It's in the
about Morgan
50s, yeah.
Freeman and Sidney Poitier.
Well, it'll be fun to watch tonight. I still enjoy watching Academy Awards, see what they say and what they wear.
Do we know who the hosts are? I can't.
Yeah, the host, Amy
It's
Schumer.
Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte, yeah, entertaining.
I could kick myself for not thinking of his name.
Paul was.
Yeah, he was a good actor.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what happened.
A great singer and dancer. Jane and I saw him one time when he came to Denver for a show. Yeah, he's 95 and you hear about him once in a while, but he's still kind of active in civil rights.
Good.
I like the old movies. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Like the old movies better, we're saying,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
There was
and
more weight.
all
but-
the Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Alfred Hitchcock,
Oh, it
yes.
was a classic.
Claude Rains, does anyone remember Claude Rains?
Claude Rains, yes.
Claude Rains.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite actors. And Frederick March, he was great.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up.
Steve,
Yes, Vicky.
In Licorice Pizza last night, who's the main actor voice was the son of?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
Actor.
yeah.
Yes, and you can see it.
Oh, you can-
Played Capote and other roles. and this-
Yeah.
This,
You could
then he
see it,
died
yes,
of a
you
drug
could see Dad
overdose.
in
Yes, you could, yeah.
So interested,
Yeah,
look
that
for
was
that.
tragic. Yeah.
Who's that?
Okay, we're wrapping up. Any final thoughts, predictions, recommendations? Fun to talk about movies and what they say in their messages. All righty, everybody enjoy, watch the awards tonight, and see what you think. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
See
Steve.
you
Take
next
care.
week.
Bye-bye.
Hi, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody.
You too.
Bye-bye.